Hi, my friends. Today I want to present you a new story. Enjoy watching it.
The chandeliers blazed above the ballroom, scattering gold light across white roses, polished silver, and the sea of champagne flutes. Laughter rolled through the air in warm waves. Yet at the back, in the shadow of the double doors, I stood as if encased in ice. My black dress was plain, unremarkable, perfect for disappearing. At the head table, my father, Atlas Lucas, commanded the microphone with the confidence of a man who had never doubted the sound of his own voice. "Let's talk about success," he declared, beaming at my younger brother. My boy Junior, degree with honors, a corner office, a six-figure salary. Everything a father dreams of, and today he is getting married. The applause was polite, almost rehearsed. My chest tightened. I knew what was coming. And my daughter, Laura, Atlas's tone shifted, airy and amused. "Well, she tried university but didn't make it. Works as an ordinary guard now. Nothing wrong with that, of course. But..." A ripple of restrained chuckles passed through the guests. I caught the smirk of a man I'd never met, the raised brows of an old neighbor. I forced my gaze away from Atlas and fixed it on the champagne bubbles rising in the glass I hadn't touched. My fists curled. He had reduced 17 years of my life into a single dismissive sentence. Not a word about the nights in safe houses, the raids, the danger that still clung to me like invisible dust. Junior leaned toward him, whispering something I couldn't hear. Atlas waved him off. "Lighten up, son. It's a wedding." The burn in my chest grew hotter. It was the same one I carried since I was 12, when Atlas told the neighbors I was creative, while Junior was the smart one. But tonight, the burn felt different, sharper, dangerous. Because for the first time, I wasn't sure I'd let him get away with it. I slipped away from the ballroom under the cover of polite laughter, weaving through servers balancing trays of champagne. My phone buzzed. Director Vega's name lit the screen. One line glared back at me. "Laura, turn on Channel 9. Now." The hotel lobby was quieter, the clinking of glasses from the bar a soft contrast to the noise I'd left behind. A massive flat-screen TV hung above polished mahogany shelves. I looked up. In what officials call the most significant anti-narcotics operation in 2 decades, the DEA has dismantled the Garcia cartel. The anchor announced, her voice steady but urgent. Footage rolled. Masked agents storming compounds, crates of prohibited intoxicating substances stacked like bricks, armed men in cuffs. Seized assets total $1.7 billion. 25 arrests. Leading the operation, Special Agent in Charge Laura Lucas. My photo filled the screen, uniform pressed, gaze unwavering. I didn't look like the ordinary guard Atlas had described. I looked like what I was, a woman who had spent 17 years dismantling empires built on blood. 2 hotel guests at the bar glanced from the TV to me, eyes narrowing. "Is that?" one whispered. I turned away before I could hear the rest. Footsteps clicked behind me. "Laura?" It was Aunt Miriam, wine in hand. "You're missing your father's toast." She followed my gaze to the TV. Goodness, those poor agents. Imagine risking your life like that. Thank heaven you've got a safe job. I almost laughed. Safe. 5 days ago, I'd been crouched in the dark of a Peruvian jungle, listening to the hum of cartel radios. "Come," she urged, linking her arm through mine. "Atlas will be looking for you." As we walked back, the weight in my chest shifted. They didn't know. Not Atlas, not Junior, not a single soul in that ballroom. But in a few minutes they would. Atlas was already mid-speech when I re-entered the ballroom, his voice booming over the clinking glasses. "Success," he declared, "is about making the right choices. My son Junior, football star, college honors, a corner office, he's everything a father could hope for." The applause swelled. I stood near the back, my pulse matching the rhythm of the claps. "Now I love both my children," Atlas went on, "but my daughter Laura, well, her path's been different. Dropped out of university, never settled down. Works as a guard somewhere." "Dad." The word left my lips before I could stop it. The room froze. 300 heads turned toward me. Atlas blinked, clearly irritated. "Laura, honey, I'm giving a toast." "I need to correct something," I said, stepping forward. I didn't drop out of university because I failed. I left after my first year because I was recruited by the DEA. A ripple of murmurs spread. Someone gasped. You called me a guard. I continued, my heels clicking against marble as I approached the head table. I'm a special agent in charge for South American operations. This week, I led Operation Cleaning of the AMS, the largest cartel takedown in agency history. A man near the front whispered, "Check your phone, she's on the news right now." Atlas's smile faltered. "Laura, this isn't. This is the truth you've ignored for 17 years, I cut in. You measure success in titles and paychecks. I measure it in lives saved and criminals taken off the street." Gasps, whispers, the shuffle of guests pulling up the broadcast on their phones. It all swirled together. And for the first time in my life, Atlas didn't know what to say. Atlas tried to laugh, but it came out thin, almost brittle. "Laura, honey, no need to make a scene. This isn't a scene," I cut in, my voice steady but sharp. "It's the truth you've never cared to hear." The crowd shifted uneasily, champagne glasses trembling in hands that just minutes ago were clinking in celebration. I took a step forward, feeling the weight of 17 years pressing behind each word. "In all that time, not one of you ever asked me what I really do. You decided I was a failure, and you built your story around that lie." Someone near the back whispered, just loud enough to carry, "She's a hero." Atlas's face tightened, but I didn't let him speak. My eyes locked on his, unblinking. 5 days ago, I dismantled the Garcia cartel. 25 arrests, $1.07 billion in assets seized. Tomorrow, I meet the Attorney General. 2 senators want my briefing. The president knows my name. I pause, letting the gasps ripple through the hall. But my real success. I can sleep at night knowing my work saves lives. That it matters. The chandeliers hummed faintly above the silence. My father's shoulders sagged, his hands trembling against the edge of the podium. For the first time in my life, Atlas Lucas, untouchable, unyielding, looked unsure. He opened his mouth, closed it again, and stared at me like I was someone he'd never met before. In a way, I suppose I was. And for the first time, the room's eyes weren't on the man who had always commanded them. They were on me. I turned to Junior, who was still frozen at the head table. His bride clutched his arm, eyes darting between us. "Congratulations, little brother," I said softly. "I hope your marriage is happy." The words hung in the air like drifting ash. I straightened my shoulders and began walking toward the exit. The click of my heels on marble rang sharp in the hush, each step severing me from years of quiet dismissal. Halfway to the door, "Laura, wait." I stopped, but didn't turn. "I'm sorry." My father's voice was stripped bare, a man unshielded for the first time. "I was wrong. About you. About everything." I let the silence sit a moment before answering, my back still to him. "I know." Then I pushed open the heavy glass doors and stepped into the cool night. The sudden rush of air felt like freedom. In the parking lot, my phone buzzed violently in my hand. 17 missed calls from reporters, 38 congratulatory texts from colleagues, and one from Director Vega. 2 senators want to meet Monday. Hope you enjoyed the wedding. I laughed under my breath. For the first time that day, my smile wasn't for anyone else. I had survived my father's humiliation, dismantled the story he'd written for me, and replaced it with the truth. I walked into the night, head high, carrying the quiet, unshakable pride of a woman who had built her life on grit, service, and her own unassailable terms.
Friends, what do you think of this story? Write your opinion in the comments. Would you like more stories? Don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell button so you don't miss any videos. See you tomorrow.